morning, everyone. Good morning. Today we have such a wonderful day. We'd like to thank the principal and the school administration for giving us the permission, and to the Green Foundation for giving me this time to stand before you all. As sir have said, only good people go to Singapore, so I'm also one of the good person. I have also been to Singapore. So, as sir have shown us a very inspiring video about his life, how he have grown from a family where there were people who were abusing substances, maybe not drugs of that high level, but at least there were some substance abuse. So today we'll talk about drugs, we'll talk about substance abuse. So, and we'll also talk about what it will harm you as a student, you as a person, that can land you to jail also. So, we'll talk about a drug or a substance. A drug is any substance that when absorbed into a body of a living organism, alters the bodily functions. It's chemical that change the person's body work by altering emotions and thoughts. So drug can be anything. The paracetamol which we take when we are sick is also a drug. But it's a good drug for our body. It affects our body and it heals our body. But when we talk about substance abuse, when we keep using that thing, repeatedly using it, also when our body does not require. You are not sick, but you're eating paracetamol day and night. Because without that paracetamol, now you're unable to function. So that's the same thing with drugs. Once you start with brown sugar or once you start with kaini, after 2-3 hours, if you don't take kaini or drugs, you have the urge. You know what's the meaning of talab? It's a Hindi word. Talab means urge. It's urge because after 2-3 hours of taking talab or shikhar, you want to take it again. Nah, there's a talab for that. There is a urge for that. Shikhar also is a Hindi word which means peak. Peak. They say that it gives you the same talab, the same urge. It takes you to the peak, that shikhar, the tobacco product, and then after you eat it, after some time, it comes down. So you want to achieve that peak again with that shikhar. So those are the things which we don't require, the substance which we are habitual, which are not required, but solely to alter one mood, we keep taking it. So, continued use of drugs or a substance leads to deterioration in health, wealth, work, or social activities. So, why do school children try drugs or abuse substances? Because out of curiosity. Many of your friends might be using some kind of tobacco products. So they must be also pressuring you, peer pressure, saying that just try it. And you also might want to try it out of curiosity, saying, what is it like? Now let me try it, what is it like? Let me also taste it, what is it like? So that curiosity and peer pressure leads to trying out of drugs. So, and in some other countries, in some places, there is academic pressure because of which children take drugs. But in our district, in Chorchanpur in Manipur, we are not that pressured that much. We are not that pressure. Our teachers are teaching us so well in school, and also they are not pressuring us so much. But in some schools, in some other places also, even in your school, you want to excel, but then the pressure, when you go out from here, you will know what pressure actually is, academic pressure. So these are some of the reasons why teen tries drugs. These are the types of drugs, stimulants, some of the drugs why children take WY. Because they say if you take WY, you become very active, stimulants. But that activeness is only for some time. After the effect is gone, like shikhar, after 2-3 hours, the effect is gone, and then you become droopy. And everyone knows that you have taken drugs, you have taken WY, you have taken Shikhar. So that is a stimulant. The other is depressant. It makes you depressed, like alcohol. Any person who takes alcohol, have you seen him happy? No, most of the time they are like very sad and they will take alcohol. And some are hallucinogens. I'll not go into much of that. See, these are the substances which is mostly abused by the students. Shikhar, Kuva, Supari, Sargent and other tobacco products. The second part is dendrite correction fluid, which is called inhalants. You are aware of this, dendrite and correction fluid. This was very common when we were in schools. I'll not go into deeper. You all might be very inspired by that, and you might start taking, you never know these days, out of the curiosity. So if you don't know, it's very good. Then the others is oral drugs like SP tablet and N10 tablet. This also was prevalent few years back. And alcohol, WY tablet is still. And now the most prevalent is WY tablet, brown sugar and heroin, especially brown sugar. Because you all think that brown sugar does not have smell. But very soon our teachers, their nose will be trained in that. Initially when WY was very famous, even our teachers were not aware. But over the time they become trained. And very soon our teachers will become trained, and they have developed a sense that we are told in many schools, students are caught with brown sugar. And you know what is the consequences of that. See, the physical symptoms like red eyes, then your eyes either is very big or very droopy. So all these are the way we come to know. And unusual smells. The smell is different when you are near them. So those kind of things. Behavioral changes are poor work. Work for you is study. You become poor in your studies because you cannot concentrate. The drugs which give you stimulants like WY, which make you very active, the activeness might not be more than 2-3 hours. After that, you're very weak. So don't get into those kind of curiosity. Don't try out of curiosity also. Don't try out of peer pressure also, because the result we already know. And we'll talk about brown sugar, how brown sugar is made. See, this is one of the brown sugar factory in Churchandpur, which was busted. What they do is that they take that kani, which the sap of the poppy plant, which is called kani in local language. It's boiled at very high temperature, and then when the substance is later on combined with tuna, lime, and other chemicals, then it becomes brown sugar. So this is one of the factory which was busted in Churchandpur. And so these are some of the equipments which is used there. And now let's come to the consequences of drug use. It leads to loss of academic and career. That is the biggest loss. We students, why do we study? We want to we study so that we become some kind of successful person in various fields, maybe a doctor or in other field. But if you lose your academic career, that is lost. Students who are caught with drugs after several warnings, and when the school authority expel them, what do you expect? What else will be their future? They'll lose their academics, they'll lose their career. What sir have shown you, the rag pickers of Churchandpur, that is the next thing. Not victimizing them, not ridiculing them, but then that is the thing. You cannot dream of having a good house, a good career when you are involved in drugs. So crimes also leads to, drugs also leads to crimes. The next is crime. It might be drug trafficking or drug manufacturing like I have shown you. The next is theft or robbery, motor vehicle theft, and it also leads to joining of gangs and up to the extent of murdering someone. Recently in Chochanpur there was one case, if you have read newspaper, it's very famous Anand Gupta murder case. There, most of the accused which were caught was between 19, 20 to 23, 24 years of age. And all of them were drug addicts. So they were drug addicts, so they need money now because their family cannot support them anymore financially. So what they do is that they join a gang which was involved in extorting money from businessmen. So what they do is that they will go and give extortion letter that this much money you have to pay by this day, otherwise we will kill you. Some people they pay and some didn't pay, so next time they went with gun and they tried to threaten them, but meanwhile they also fired the gun and they killed that businessman. So they start with the want of some money, and then they went to the extent of murdering someone. So that's the way it goes. Why sir have shown those rag pickers of Chochanpur? Because they are abandoned by their family. The family also cannot bear them anymore. So they are left on street as rag pickers. They become homeless. They fail their relationship with their families and friends. Once you become addict, maybe in peer pressure, your friend is doing drugs, some person is doing drugs, you do drugs. But once you become addict, now nobody will care for you. They will simply say, oh, that is a drug addict, that is a rag picker, that guy is picking rags out there. They will not care for you anymore once you become drug addicts. Many will try to woo you that do this drug. It will be very helpful for you, or you will become very active. You will be able to bear heavy loads and all. But once you become drug addict, nobody will care for you. You might lead into jail term if you do those crimes which I have mentioned, and it will lead you to jail time and massive legal fines. And even if somehow you complete your education, if you're addicted to drugs, you might have trouble in becoming employed. You might land in jail. Then you will not get clearance for your job. You might not land in a good job. Okay, somehow you land in a job also. You won't be able to perform, and someday or the other your employer will come to know, and they will definitely not like you to work under you in their company or in their department. So that is the problem. Addiction and dependency leads to more crime, and the last is overdose and death. So we'll see what are the consequences legally. See, NDPS Act is narcotic, drugs and psychotropic substances. This act, it's only deals with drugs. If you are caught with WI, how should you be punished? If you are caught with Kani, how should we punish you? All these things are dealt under this. The act itself is very strict. It's very strict. Once you're caught with any kind of drugs, there is no way you will go free. You might go to jail and come out after 6 months, maybe, because of our legal system. Because we believe in democracy, we believe in human rights. You might come out of jail after 6 months before the actual trial begins. But once the trial begins, you might go for 10 years, you might go to jail for 20 years, or you might go to jail for life imprisonment. Those cases I'll discuss later. But see, this section 27 of NDPS, not only those who sell, but also this is a punishment for consumption of any narcotic or psychotropic substance. Even if you eat, even if you consume, you can be caught here. Many of the drug addicts, if police want, we can catch them. We have catch them many a times. But then there are so many in Chochanpur that we have stopped, looking into that side. But if new school students who are trying to get involved or who are just starting, we won't hesitate arresting you under section 27 just for consumption of a narcotic or psychotropic substance. This is how strict the act is. See, after consuming the drugs, the next is many of the drug consumers, they themselves become drug peddlers. They started selling to others also. They become drug traffickers. Maybe they now you're selling small, what do you call, small drops. They wrap in paper, and it's like a drop. In Hindi they call it puriya. So it's just like a drop. They make it small packets, small packets. Now you might be selling small packets, and you're a drug peddler. After some times, you're so addicted, or you're so into this drug thing, then you might become a trafficker and started transporting these many kgs of kani. So they were caught. So what will be their consequences? The second is financing illicit traffic also, or harboring or letting anyone who is involved in transporting this kind of drugs. If you let them stay at your home also, you're liable for being caught. Many a times, see, when we raid some houses, the house owner said, the owner of that drugs might be your uncle, your cousin, who have come and stay at your home that night. That person is caught. At the same time, the house owner, who is your father and mother, is also picked up. Then you will start blaming police, saying that he is my brother, he have just come yesterday with drugs, we have no link with this drug, we don't do drug business. But you are allowing a person who is transporting drugs from here to there to let them stay at your home at night. So your mother and father can also be picked up if any of your relatives come and stay at your home with drugs to be sold in the market. So financing as well as harboring. So you have to be careful, you have to tell your parents also. If you know any of your family members who do drug business, don't let them stay at home. Unfortunately, if police come and raid that day at your home, not only your uncle, auntie who do drugs, but your parents will also be caught. So this is the most common, stealing from your parents initially. After that, theft. These are live photos. They have steal this big hens and chicken, and they were selling in the market. When we have some doubt, we ask them, and so they have stolen this chicken from their neighbors, and they were selling in the market because they were selling at very cheap price. These drug users, they don't mind selling at very low price. Once we got a drug user, one lady who have stolen a mobile from the house where she have gone and asked for some food, and that family, they thought she is very poor and she is very weak, let us give them some food. They give food, and she stole the mobile which was there at the table, on the table which was at the counter. So when we caught that lady, and that lady's son was also a drug addict. And you know, a phone which costs 15 to 20,000, they sell that phone only for 500 rupees. Because they don't mind, it's not their property. 500 rupees, they will be able to buy one dose of drug for injection, or for chewing it, or for anything. So those two, mother and son, they were both addicted to heroin drugs which you inject. So 500 rupees means one dose. So they were happy, they don't mind. They sold a mobile phone which cost 15,000 for just 500 rupees. So these are some of the examples. So see, this is a family. Husband and wife, both are drug addicts. They're carrying their child, mother is carrying the child, and they were openly doing drugs in Churchandpur Bazaar, and they were also selling small packets also. And on that side, if you can see, it was at night. Both boys as well as girls, they were caught in Churchandpur Bazaar, they were doing drugs. So not only boys, even girls are involved in drugs. So the next thing is, which I already told you, is the Anand Gupta case, where many of these people, these drug addicts, are involved in gangs. And so this another law which is called Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, UAPA Act. This law is also very strict, just like NDPS, which deals with drugs. This case deals with insurgents or gangs. Section 20 means if you are a member of any terrorist or any gang which is involved in terrorist activities like extortion, then the punishment may extend to imprisonment. So these are some of the people who were caught. Here you can see some guns also. They were extorting, and many of them were using drugs also. They were drug addicts also. So they don't mind extorting money from other people. So this is one of the other strict law which can be applied. So this, if you murder someone, then you will go under 302 IPC. If you don't murder, but if you are overdosed, then you will die like this person. This is a common case every day. Both boys and girls. Every day we picked up 2-3 dead bodies. Just now, before coming, students these days, many of us are involved in drugs. We all are aware of it. Many of us are involved in drugs. Many of us use such a lingo which we don't know, like spin. Some might be aware, spin money from your parents. That means steal money from your parents, or somehow spin out money from your parents by stealing or by telling lie that you have to buy pens, pencil or notebooks. So you spin out money from your parents. We all are aware of it. And after spinning out money, you're involved in drugs, and many of the students are involved in very unnatural act also. Many of the students are involved in selling their pictures, their dirty pictures. If you're drug addict or if you're involved in drug, you don't mind even selling your dirty pictures. And one thing boys, especially for girls, I like to tell, boys somehow we ignore as a society. But if a girl, your naked picture, your dirty picture is circulated in social media, in WhatsApp and all, how will you react? While clicking, you might not feel it bad. While clicking and sending it to some person to get 200 or 300 rupees, you might not feel bad. But once it comes to social media, it comes to WhatsApp, and even your parents, your uncle, auntie sees it, then you will cry. There were many cases like this. So, don't involve in drugs. Those who are involved in drugs are also involved in this kind of dirty works. So, if you have just started tasting a drug, then you can tell your family, friends, or uncle, auntie who is here. They can help you. They can help you get up from there because it's not late yet. That's why this foundation wants you to catch young. Even if you have just tasted it, you can secretly tell them. There is a counselor, and they will be able to help you, so that your dirty pictures does not circulate in social media and WhatsApp. This has happened, that's why I'm warning you all. So these are some of the cases in 2017, one lady was caught, Chuchanpur women police, we have caught a lady with 100 tablets of WY. 100 tablets of WY is very small, but we charge sheeted it and she was convicted in 2020. And the second case is two ladies again, who are in the age of 49 and 50 when they were caught in 2019. They were 49 and 50 years. They were caught, and they said they were doing it for the first time because they want money for their education of their children. They are doing it for the first time. They plead, but the court did not hear their plea. They said yes, they reduced their sentence from 20 years to 14 years. But even if it's their first time, they say nobody is unaware of the ill effect of drugs. So even if it's your first time, you have to go to jail. So they were convicted for 14 years. The case 3 is 62-year-old man. Just imagine 62-year-old in October 2015 when he was caught with only 3 kg of opium, 3 kg of gun. You will say 3 kg is very less. But drugs is drug. Less is also still harmful. Big amount is also still harmful. So the court sent that 62-year-old man. He is very old. You might say that we can just leave him day after or tomorrow he will die. Let him go free. You might think it, but the court say no. 10 years rigorous imprisonment he was given. So these are some of the cases. Whether you are a woman or you're a man, girl or a boy, still the court treats drug cases very strictly. So the way forward is drug abuse education in school, which we are doing. Be informed and be aware. Don't try to be a living bad example. You try drugs out of curiosity. You all have seen the pictures. You all have seen many people who are lying in Chochanpur town, drug pickers. We already have enough of bad examples. They also tried out of curiosity. Don't try out of curiosity. There is already enough bad examples. So don't try to be a bad example. We have already enough of bad examples. So don't be depressed, work hard and motivate yourself in every step. Even if you fail in school, one test, it's fine. Many of us have failed in schools also. But failing one class or failing one test, one exam is not a failure. You can still work hard and get promoted the next at the end of the school year. You can get promoted the next year if you study hard. Failing one year, failing one exam is not to be depressed. You have to work harder. Study wisely and inculcate a good habit. Don't try to be just going here and there, roaming here and there. Stay away from drugs and bad companions, peer pressure, handle it. Your friends might say, we will not be friends if we don't try this drug. Don't be friends with them. There are many other good people also in your class. Be with them. If your friend, your best friend is asking you to do bad things, leave that person and be with a good friend who is in your class. So prevention is better than cure. Stay away from drugs. Don't be bad examples. So what Chochanpur police do is regular patrolling. See those two are drug addicts roaming around in Chochanpur. They are doing it openly. So many a times our police try to chase them away, or so that you guys don't see them here and there doing those kind of bad things. So the regular patrolling is there, and then many a times we have caught the drug peddlers. This is the case in September. In September we have 3 NDPS cases, 3 drug cases just in 1 month. So this was one of the case where the one who was selling or the one who was transporting drugs from one place to another was a male. The other 2 cases where the accused was female. So these were some of the cases. There were 3, but I have kept 2 pictures. One is male, one is female. So the drug peddlers can be male, female. Drugs user can be male, female. Only boys do not do it. Even girls are involved these days in drugs. So if you are involved, like the case which I have discussed, even if you are a woman of 20 years, still you will be behind bars. If you are a man of 62-year-old, you will be still behind jail. So this is for adults whom we have got. But now, as I have talked about section 27, where using consumption, we will start using this, and even students who are involved, even students, we will not spare even students. Till now, all those who have been punished are all adults above the age of 18. But children who are involved in schools supplying drugs and peddling drugs, we will not leave them, will not treat them as children anymore. So this is one of the strong message I'd like to put forward. And you might end in trouble. You might not get police clearance certificate. Police, you might not like it, but still, if you get a job after doing drugs, also even if you get job, or even after doing murder, you get job somehow. But police clearance you will not get. And once you don't get police clearance, you won't be able to join any kind of service, any kind of job, even if you get. So stay clean, stay away from drugs, stay away from crime. So this is my message. Thank you so much.